I have decided to apply for this amazing job at GameStop. You've met Dave from accounting. You've met Susan from janitorial. Now meet the game dude. I can tell everyone about all the shitty games out there. You know this is going to be my big break after I spammed my username at the drive-thru speaker at McDonald's.
I saw your resume and it says at the top nerd-spired at the bold.
Well, I'm nerd-spired a bit. Speaking of which, don't you hate Matthew? He's just James's bitch, and he makes crappy drawings. I use MS Paint unlike him. But before you judge my resume, I have the transcript of my Felix the Cat review and a printout with the comments. I also have my boombox with me. It has my theme song on it. You can hear it if you want.
It says on your resume that you respond well to adversity, survived an assault from Mike Matai. Says here that you're also famous on the internet. See attached empty bottle of Rolling Rock you picked out of Rolf's garbage. And that you also bought a new shotgun mic and you use Final Cut Pro, just like the nerd. And you even put a quote on here that says, listen, I want a refund on this DVD and resist returning my emails.
I knew this response would happen, so I'm here to bribe you with some Swiss gold. You see, my uncle was a very rich man and he came to America, but then he got deported back to Finland for being a stoner. But I forgot to mention that I was going to be the original voice for Knight Rider in the remake, but they kicked me out when I started saying fuck platypus during the recording sessions. Also, you could tell that I'm related to James Rolfe. You see, if I change my last name to Rolfe, then they legally can't kick me out of their house every Christmas. Or even suggest this theory James Rolfe was my father. You see, if I'm like 21 and James is like 29, then I would probably be his son. But the mother left because she was a child rapist.
This is a job resume, not your life experiences. I mean honestly, you have said shit about your personal address and a transcript of your referring commentaries. But no sexual life? What happens if you die? Game dude age 21 rest in peace died a virgin. You're like that fucking guy on my expedition who would say, oh look, there's a trap, let's step into it in a robot fashion voice.
You see, I took acting classes, right? But you didn't know I took video production as well. And during one class we were usually getting high, turning off the light, and watching Blue's Clues, right? But a lockdown happened, a criminal entered the building, so we did the mature thing to do, we turned on the lights, and continued watching Blue's Clues. And after 5 years it gave me an idea. Dude's Clues, I gather clues on where AVGN lives, and what type of stuff he likes. I eventually find him, and cousin Alex takes over who says I like James, I like James. And to top that off, I will perform an episode of Board Batter. The game I'm playing is Animal Upon Animal, where you stack animals to make a pyramid. I always make sure to stack the sheep on the sheep. I once splooched so hard thinking of AVGN doing a deuce on my face that I hit myself in the eye and had to stumble to a dirty sock on the floor. You could say I'm popular at the movie theaters. Whenever I'm watching a movie I usually go on my iPhone and search up the whole plot on Wikipedia, then spoil it to the whole audience. I downloaded the bootleg of Furry Vengeance and it quickly replaced my #1 stroke DVD, AVGN, Volume 1.
Fuck that. Anyway, what are some of your personal fears?
Well, there was this one time when I was watching Attack of the Killer Tomatoes, and I wet my pants when the tomatoes were killing everyone, and that I'm a disgrace to my family's legacy.
Your greatest strength?
I can be aroused by anything with a pulse, mostly with 4 legs and fur.
Can you talk about a time when you disagreed with company policy?
I told my supervisor having to wash my hands after taking a diarrhea dump it was a fuckload of bullfuck. He told me to clean the dumpster with a toothbrush. Speaking of which, I think this could be a good set for a show I'm scripting called Welcome Back Rolf. Think of it as Welcome Back Hotter, except I took over and made it basically the plot is how James Rolfe goes back to his reviewing school to redeem us. It could start off with James telling his wife, did I ever tell you about the time when I sent that email to the game dude, and then the log track comes in. And I got all the characters in my head. I had first thoughts about being Epstein, but then I found out he was a Jew. So I decided to be Horseshack, because he has horse in his name. Captain S can be Mr. Woodman, because he was a douchebag on the show. Valis can be Washington. We can get irate gamer as Barbarino. Or how about this? CS Steiner expired.
Goddamn it, look at you. You're like some fucking embarrassment that needs his own episode for the Twilight Zone. Think of it like this. Meet a man named Alexander Better, age 21. He is having a midlife crisis, going into the Swiss gold rage shooting everyone. Because someone stole his rare edition copy of Tax Fiddler on the roof. Now the question is, why is this all happening? Because you're traveling through another dimension. Next stop, the Twilight Zone.
You think you're such a comedian, eh? Look at you, you're what? 30. That's fucking ancient. It's like how they gave Roger Ebert the Pulitzer Prize for being old. I can do things to you. Remember how I fucked with Play It Bogart? Well, I can revoke your green card. You see, all I have to do is go to the James Rolfe's house, and since he can figure out how to work with Sony Vegas, I think he can fuck with your life. You see, I was there in my Columbo t-shirt that said excuse me. You played Doom on Itty Bitty Baby mode. You probably had to play Wolfenstein 3D on Can I Play Daddy mode. While I was, like I'm Death Incarnate mode. You just sicken me. It's like how Helsing 920 is 100% Burger King. He's probably like the heir to the crown.
I have looked at the results and you don't deserve the job. In fact, you deserve to be put in a mental institution.
Do I get the job now? Plus, since I showed you one of my reviews, how about we watch them on closed caption mode? It could be like 2 reviews in one. Or how about this: tomorrow I promise that I'll torrent all my videos into one, and call it The Game Dude Volume 1. And get this, if you don't like it, I can just revise the whole DVD, and give it to you again. The extra features can be me in bed touching myself, and saying to myself how I wish I was the Joker in the Batman review getting games shoved up my ass. Then I green screen myself into the review getting games shoved up my ass, and I show it to my whole family.
You're a sick motherfucker, Alex. Now get out of my office before you make me shoot myself.